Miss Elena Love joins us today as a special guest chef. For the last 10 years, Elena has instructed around the world on the art of cooking without cooking and has been invited to prepare her delectable cuisines for notable figures in the raw food community like David Wolfe, Dr. Gabriel Cousens, and the Bentenko family. In addition to operating a catering business and the Pure Joy Living Food Store, she is a raw chef instructor at the respectable Living Light Culinary Arts Institute. Today's show will be the first half of making raw pizza.
Hi, welcome to Vegetarianism, the Noble Way of Living. We're here today with Elena Love. She's one of the top raw food chefs in the world. She's going to teach us today how to make one of her most popular recipes, raw pizza, one of my favorites. So thank you for joining us today.
Yes, my pleasure to be here. I'm very honored to be here. And I want to start out by showing you how to make a pizza crust. I progressed to a lot lighter crust recipe, so it's more like the authentic pizza, light and soft. So we're going to start out today with using some zucchini. And we're going to use about 3 cups of chopped zucchini. Now, you'll notice that my zucchini is yellow, which is kind of rare. So what you can do if you have green zucchini is peel it. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a green pizza crust. With yellow, though, it makes it a beautiful golden color when you do it. So we're going to leave the skin on, plus you get all the nutrients from the skin.
Definitely.
We're going to put in 3 cups into our blender. So we're going to use the Vitamix today, and you could use just a regular home blender. Then the next thing I'm going to add in is some olive oil, just about a half a cup of olive oil. Now when you're using olive oil, make sure you use extra virgin organic olive oil. Regular olive oil has usually been heated, so you want to use an unheated oil because it's much better on your body. Heated oils actually cause weight gain because the body doesn't know how to use that fat. But raw fats the brain can use and the body can actually use. Now I have 1 cup of almonds that have already been soaked. Before I soaked them, it was about a half a cup measurement.
How long do you need to soak them?
Overnight, about 8 hours to overnight. This is the water that came off of these nuts. You want to rinse all this water off and actually rinse the almonds or the nuts until they run clear. And that's because it makes them more digestible and there's more nutrients in them and they're just lighter in general. So I'm going to put in 1 cup of almonds. And then the other thing I'm going to put in is some salt. Let's see, about a half a teaspoon of salt we're going to put in. And blend until it becomes smooth. Okay, so now that this part's blended, we only have 1 other ingredient to add, and that's our flax seeds. This is ground flax seeds. I like to grind mine fresh myself, and then you have fresh flax meal. And we're using it as a thickener today in this, and it also adds a nice nutty flavor to things. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a bowl, and we're going to mix this flax meal in with the batter. Okay. And I'm going to add the flax meal. I'm just going to sprinkle it over the top, and then mix it in. And I do a lot of different recipes using flax meal, like I'll make cinnamon rolls and things like that, because it really helps bind the things together. You can do 2 large crusts on these, or you can do 4 small crusts. I'm going to do 4 mini crusts today. Okay, so the tray I've got here is called the Excalibur dehydrator tray. Okay, over here we have an Excalibur dehydrator. This is my favorite dehydrator because it's got a temperature control on the top. 118 degrees is the highest temperature that you want to go with raw foods. Over 118 degrees will kill all the enzymes. And you can get these Teflex sheets to go on top, and this is really great anytime you're doing anything wet, like crackers or, pizza crust. Okay, so I'm going to make 4 pizza crusts here. Think of it like pancakes a little bit, the same shape and size, maybe a little bit bigger than a pancake. If you get the size a little off or, you don't get it perfect, it's still going to be delicious.
Definitely.
I always tell people, just have fun, play, don't stress that you're, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. But the best thing is just to keep experimenting and playing. So as you can see, I'm just taking the spatula and spreading it out. I would say maybe an 1/8 inch thickness it looks like. So if you've got a friend to help you, that's always good. And making food together is so fun.
I know.
Have your friends over or do it with your partner. So when people tell me, oh, it's too hard to make raw foods, I don't have time, I say, well, just take one day of the week and make a bunch of stuff like pizza crusts and the stuff that's a little bit more time consuming. I've got these 4 pretty well measured out here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put these in the dehydrator overnight. And by tonight, before I go to bed at 10 o'clock, I could check them and flip them. The top and the bottom tray are a little cooler, so those are the last trays you want to use. You want to always start in the middle somewhere. Then I'm going to turn my dehydrator on. I'm going to turn it on to about 115 degrees and let it dry for like 4 to 5 or 6 hours. And then once it seems pretty dry on top, what I want to do is take another tray, put it on top like so, and just flip the whole thing. So that's ready to go. Pizza crusts, as you can see, are a little bit soft still. See that?
Wow.
Which I like. These dried overnight, and then we dried them for another 4 or 5 hours. So maximum drying time is probably anywhere between 8 and 12 hours. These are even fun to use like as a naan bread or some kind of tortilla.
It looks
so
really
it's not just a pizza crust. It can be used for a lot of things.
Definitely.
Yeah. So now what we're going to do, now that we have our pizza crust, is we're going to do some toppings. Like I said, if you make a whole dehydrator full, you have them whenever you want pizza, you just pull them out of the freezer and they're ready to go.
Yeah.
The first thing we're going to make is our pizza sauce. This is our marinara sauce. All these recipes for the pizza, all you need really is the Vitamix blender, or some kind of blender. So right here I've got a cup of sun-dried tomatoes, and the sun-dried tomatoes have been soaked with a little bit of water. So I only really want enough water just to cover the tomatoes, that way the flavor stays really rich. I'm going to put that in the blender with the water. So this is a vine-ripened organic tomato. Chop it into maybe quarters. The next ingredient we're going to be using is some dates to sweeten it. Now you know how pizza sauce is always a little bit sweet? Well, you really want that flavor in there because for me, whenever I would eat cooked pizza, it was always about the sauce. I wanted that flavor. So we're going to put 2 medjool dates in there. The reason I like dates is because they're firm and they're solid and they have a really great flavor to them. And then you always want to take the pit out before you use them. And then we're going to put in a clove of garlic. Because you can't have Italian food without garlic, right? And garlic's actually antifungal and antiviral, so it's super healthy for you. And then about 1/16 of an onion. I have a shallot here, so we chopped up a little shallot. We're going to put that in. Okay, we've got some Italian seasoning, about 1/4 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, and a 1/4 teaspoon of oregano. And then we're going to put in some basil leaves, some fresh basil.
Smells good.
About 7 basil leaves. We need about 1 teaspoon of Celtic sea salt or Himalayan salt crystals. The salt that you use is really important. If you use like a white regular table salt, it doesn't have any minerals in it, and it's been heated and stripped of all its nutrients. People get high blood pressure from salt and different things that happen is because the body doesn't recognize this as a food. So by using a whole food salt, like a mineral-rich salt, so we're actually getting nutrients from the salt now.
I see.
Which is great about raw foods is everything we use has minerals and nutrients in it. And I'm going to put my lid on again and blend. Okay, so we're going to take the sauce now. And with the pizza sauce, we want to not put too much water in it because if there's too much water, it's going to be soggy on your pizza.
Oh, yeah.
So see that, how it's nice and thick? Doesn't it smell good? Wish you guys could smell that.
Oh, it smells so fresh.
All right, so now we have the pizza sauce made. Now we need to make the cheese.
Come back and join us tomorrow for the second half of Pizza Making with Miss Elena Love, when we'll complete our pizzas with raw vegan cheese and fresh, color-rich toppings. Coming up now is Between Master and Disciples. May the seeds of love, hope, and happiness blossom in your soul.
Thank you.